Welcome to another episode of From Guest to Great. This episode we have two members from Nedbank exec, right? Or is it Nedbank
Allstar.
2.5 members.
Nedbank All-Star members, right? So, but I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. Ladies, over to you. I think we'll start with Benovia. I see Benovia this side first. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. My name is Benovia Kyla. I'm a member of the Nedbank All-Stars Toastmasters Club, corporate club. Been a member since 2023. And yeah, currently, or should I say, I was VPM at the club.
You still are the VPM until the 1st of July, 9 a.m. or 8:01. You know,
Technically, yeah, technically still until that time.
Yes. And then we've got Ketiwe, ma'am. Over to you.
Hi, I'm Ketiwe. I am VPE of Nedbank All-Stars, also been in the club since 2023. Yeah, I think that's about it.
She's also my AD, by the way, so she's our area direct. Humble, I tell you.
That too.
Nonetheless, we're going to move on to the first question, and I'm going to pass this one to Benovia. Benovia, what attracted you to the role of VPM?
I think VPM was a natural change from, or just a natural new level from being the VPR the previous year. And the club found it fit to see me as VPM, or voted me in as the VPM. And then I couldn't say no. Hence, I took up the role and just said, let's go for it. Let's see what happens. And then I had a beautiful example. Ketiwe was the previous VPM.
Oh.
So yeah, and she knows she's a little bit of a kryptonite to me. I can't really say no when it comes to her. So yeah, it's been an awesome journey learning from her as well. And that's why she's tag teaming with me today.
Okay, great. So Ketiwe, you were VPM first, well, before Benovia, and now you're VPE. How has your perspective on membership grown since then, since you've gone from VPM to VPE?
So I think before it was for me just about getting members in. It was never really about keeping them in. Keeping them in for me came in when it was renewal season. And then I'd have the conversation based on how busy they are, and then how can I try and convince them to keep coming back to Toastmasters. Whereas now my perspective is a member needs to find value in order for them to want to continue with Toastmasters. And in order for them to find value, you've got to keep them engaged, keep them coming back as much as possible throughout the term, and not just at the point of renewals. So it's been a bit different. It's more personal. So I engage people a little bit more on a personal level, and hence understand their struggles and know how much to try and push them a little bit. So I think it's a bit different. I've learned quite a bit about the human engagement element of it.
I think it's very important. Personally, I think most clubs or most VPMs do this incorrectly. They sign up the member and then they expect the VPE and everybody else to take care of the member. And then they never really go back to the member part of the VPM, where they're nurturing the member and seeing that the member's still going through that whole process. Are they still happy about it? What is their journey looking like? Are they still aligned with their goals? Because at the end of the day, the VPE is there for the educational goals. And I think the VPM, personally, my personal experience, the VPM is there for their long-term goals to nurture and to keep them going. And those conversations shouldn't be happening twice a year. It should be an ongoing conversation, Now, Benovia, or any of you can take this, What strategies have been most effective in attracting new members to your club, your corporate club? So what strategies have been effective?
The laugh. So I think with us, it's been a bit of a tough one, because what we've had to do is we've always encouraged everybody to bring friends, because we find that if somebody is familiar with what the club is, it's always easier to get your colleague or whoever is within your immediate space to join, or to just come and visit. I've found that that worked for me. I've had a few of my colleagues in my team come and visit because they've seen me be in the club, or I've then extended the invitation. Ketiwe has had the same, where a few members in her team has also come because she is there. We've encouraged that throughout. And then we've also had what we've got, it's one internal platform where we've been advertising and marketing the club. And that's really helped us, because now we get it out to all company besides just our immediate teams. But again, it's all, to me, I find it very effective if people see you, they see how you've improved, and all we do is speak Toastmasters, because they all say, oh, there's Toastmaster girl again, that type of thing. So we're living it in our organization.
No. I think, most clubs don't utilize the internal communication well enough. Corporate clubs don't, personally, from my personal experience, I haven't seen them utilize the internal communication as much as they could to create that FOMO, to get new members into the club, and also get quality members. So I like that, what you guys are doing. And then, Katie, how does your club ensure new members feel welcome and integrated into the Toastmaster journey?
So other than actually welcoming them when they actually join the session, what we try and do is during the session is get people to speak as a guest, so that you feel like you are part of the conversations and the meeting. So we never really have a session where a new person coming to visit us has never spoken, unless they actually say no themselves. So that's what we generally try and do, is to get them to speak, and then they're more likely to want to keep engaging us.
And another thing that Ketiwe hasn't mentioned is afterwards as well. And this is what I've seen from her time, and what we try and do is, especially if there's a new member afterwards, or not a member, just a visitor, have that conversation afterwards, that minute, like ask them to stay online if it's an online session, and get that type of interaction, and just feel, or get a feel for how they felt during the session, and then just see what we can do with that feedback.
Okay, I like that. I think table topics is underrated, and I've seen it with one of our clubs, that it's converting people along with the counter. Funny enough, our counter does more conversion than anything else, because people sit there, they're like, oh my God, I do so many arms and R's, and it converts. Don't play our counter. I've actually noticed that, that with the table topics paired, it's an effective way of attracting members, and I like how you guys make sure that they talk, so great. Now, retention is a problem. What are the biggest challenges that you face when it comes to retaining members, and how are you trying to address those challenges?
So I think the biggest challenge is people's during their masters, their MBA, their postgraduate, undergraduate, whatever the case may be. That generally seems to be the biggest challenge for us. And I think it's because the fact that most of the time their company is paying for them to do the other studies. So it's a bit challenging to get the company to pay for both, and also just the capacity. People tend to be like, I can't do both. And I've tried with some of the conversations to be like, but you can use Toastmasters to actually help you with your speeches, your presentations, whatever you need to do for your postgraduate course, use Toastmasters. But it's not always effective, but we've had a few that have manage to do both, but other people tend to be like, okay, I can maybe come, but eventually it gets a bit too much for them, and then they don't renew because the other educational element takes priority for them.
Employer of choice is important, guys. I feel like I should apply at Nedbank at this point. They pick I want this employer of choice. Hey, you know, I feel like it's not here. This question is not here, but I'll ask, how long were you guys employed there? You know, maybe
Too long.
Well,
they have the retention
more than 10
rate,
years.
they've got
Yeah,
retention
definitely.
rate. As a club officer, just ask Nedbank how are they doing it. Then you might get a thing or two.
I think we definitely need to learn our loyalty there, right?
Hey, I'm telling you.
Yeah, 10 years
But
plus is a long time.
it is. And you don't realize that 10 years goes by so quickly, but yet it is such a long time. Now, how are you guys a brand ambassador for Toastmasters, actually? This is a side question, because I know one of you mentioned it earlier, the Toastmaster girl. So how are you guys the brand ambassador for Toastmasters within your corporate?
So other than the fact that my colleagues know about it, I probably am not, because I probably don't wear the brand as much as I could. However, any opportunity I have I know I've got that pin. I think I must wear it all the time, but I don't wear it all the time. And I think that's something I need to do. But in any engagements where we're having sessions, I don't mind recommending Toastmasters to someone where I see there is a bit of potential for improvement, but there aren't that many, I must say, there aren't that many people within the bank that I think, you're probably struggling a bit too much, but yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
I think I promoted a little bit more outside the bank then. Yeah.
Then in the organization. Benovi, what about you?
So I think the VPR role set me up for that, because usually when I do the all company posts and everybody sees, and my boss says to me, you send me so much Toastmaster advice. I'm like, really? Not realizing that the way my view is different to how everybody else sends it. So they feel very, very personal. So that's how it gets conversation starting, because people would then recognize, oh, you're the one that sends me all the information. And it's literally just a broadcast. And then that's what gets the conversation started for me. And then that's literally opened up doors for those type of conversations. And then people have seen my growth and development, where I used to be very quiet, very back of the room type of person. And now it's like, oh, okay, you can't get me to keep quiet. So they see that. And that's really been a testament on its own.
Yeah, I think, you're touching on something that I'm going to go to next. Once you feel comfortable in the organization and you realize it's okay to have a voice, it seems like the content of that voice.
Exactly. 100.
It's the same thing for a lot of us. Once that voice is, it's over. It's over for you. So yeah, but the member value. One, I think, Ketia, you touched on this, so I'm going to ask Benovia first, and then you can answer afterwards. But which tools or events or initiatives have helped increase the member value within your club?
Member value increased. I actually don't know, because for me, I think it's mostly our meetings. What we try and do there is make sure that when we do get together, it's quality. Everybody is included. We try and make sure that the member, and even the coaching, I found that very valuable, because that moment that you spend with somebody outside of a meeting, just preparing and having the conversation of, okay, your evaluator maybe said A, B, and C, but I think this is how you can improve. So member value is beyond the meeting. As much as I find meeting is absolutely amazing, it's just that one-on-one time afterwards with the coaching, with maybe just having that open door to ask the members, listen, how do you find this? How do we evaluate? How do we do this? How would you recommend that I improve? Or I like what you do. How can I help? So that's really been, I think it was valuable for me starting out on my journey. And I try, and as much as when I am asked or when I'm in a position to help others, that is what I would put forward.
I think that's a great answer. You're touching on the coaching slash mentorship.
Mhm.
It's something that a lot of clubs, I've seen a decline in terms of mentorship as well as coaching. We no longer assign mentors like we used to. When I arrived, I had a mentor. My first icebreaker speech, him and I sat for like a whole week every day going through it. So I remember that, and I always encourage clubs to have mentors and coaches, like you said. K2A?
So I think the mentorship part is very key. And I found, yes, we've struggled as a club with enough mentors within the club because we're still a pretty young club with young members in the club. But I also found that challenging people or getting a bit of a, I don't know, I don't want to say competitive spirit with members, but in terms of, we have awards. So just like we have district awards, I think every quarter we have awards every year, or at least now we're trying to also do half yearly to encourage people to stay and be excited about doing their parts. But I think also when people understand why they're doing their path, they tend to be receptive to being engaging and then taking up roles and taking up speaking roles. And that's, I think, has brought a little bit more value as well. The mentor thing, we struggle a bit, but yeah, I found super great value in the mentorship and in being a mentor to others within the club, a few people, but it's a bit of a struggle, definitely.
Can I
I'm
just
gonna,
add on? Sorry.
yeah, yes,
Just
yes,
wanted to
yes.
add on to what Kitty said about the awards. You know what I've realized is people want to be seen. And
Mm,
just by saying, listen, we see you, we value you, because that's helped us a lot. We were going to have somebody that's never been a Toastmaster of the day, and just because we started noticing the improvement and actually not being afraid to say, like, listen, we've seen you improve in A, B, and C, and even doing that little citation on the award has done so much for people's confidence in the club. So yes, that's a great way one to mention. Just wanted to add that.
I agree with you on that. I think celebrating people encourages others to want to do better. I mean, K2 area director of the year. Me, I'm encouraged. I never won area director of the year, but I'm like, I can go back and become an area director and win it because now I know what needs to be done. And I'm encouraged, and Matumi winning division director of the year, I was inspired. So,
Definitely.
so these things, I think they go a long way in inspiring other people to want to excel because we are competitive by nature. As people, we're just competitive, and it's unfortunate you have to use competition, but it's nice to have. And I would encourage clubs to actually have awards to celebrate their members that are actively showing up every month, twice a month. They're showing up, they're getting their education goals done, they're attending meetings, they're participating in meetings, they're bringing guests. I think it's a good way of celebrating those members. Now, I want to go back to something that Ketu has said, and you as the area director, I want to ask you this. Do you think it would make sense for an area-wide mentors, like we have mentors, senior individuals within an area that are accessible and available to be assigned as mentors for a lot of the newer members from the various clubs, because we have clubs that are rebuilding themselves and won't have the capacity, but we've got clubs that have got like seasoned Toastmasters and have got the capacity.
So I think having been a mentor of a new club, I found group mentorship works really well.
Mm,
Especially for new members because they're all going through level 1. So
mm,
even if somebody starts and does their icebreaker and then maybe does body language and vocal variety, they all have to go through level 1
mm,
in essence. So it's easier to mentor people that are generally going to have the same set of projects and experiences. So I think it would make sense to actually have at an area level, have a few key individuals that have the capacity to mentor groups of new people.
mm. So next set of area directors, food for thoughts. Just saying, food for thoughts. Thank you for that. Now we're gonna go on to the next question. How does your club gather feedback from the members, and what do you do with it? Do we just we receive the forms? So yeah.
So I don't think we've actually done member surveys. I don't remember receiving a member survey. I don't remember giving out a member survey. But what we do utilize is conversations. So whether it's conversations between a mentor and a member, or the member and the VPE or the treasurer, that is generally how we're getting our feedbacks. On mostly it's where we can improve, I suppose. But I think that's mostly how we're doing it. We probably could do a survey because then we get everybody, because it's not always easy to get everybody at once. But I think the conversations seem to work because people come up with ideas and are free in the conversation to tell you what their thoughts are.
Okay, I can't hate on that. I think for me, my suggestion, I think having something in writing. Tim did say this earlier in the Toastmaster year. He had where he was talking about moment of truth. There was a whole series of videos. I think it was a series of videos he did around moment of truth and other things. And I think those might be important. I know we had conversations and we get to have an idea of what's happening from the conversations we have, but I think having something in writing from the members, it sort of goes a long way to get a consensus, because some members don't always voice themselves that much, but having an entire feedback loop or something where people can actually give you feedback and you can read as an exco to actually say at your monthly exco meeting or whenever you have the exco meeting to say the members are seeing 1, 2, 3. It could be a thing of, since you guys have a nice employer of choice, it could be a thing of, the hors d'oeuvres are not the ones.
Yeah, well.
True.
But things like that, I would encourage you guys to consider doing that. It's a thing of just, it doesn't have to even be extensive the way Tim wanted it to be. You can have a set of a couple of questions through Google Form, and you can have a QR code. People, just as the meeting ends, they just scan the QR code and use it as a register also. They give you feedback about that specific meeting, So something, food for thoughts. It's just my 2 cents, and I would really encourage you having some sort of a formal system. Formal. If it's not written, it might get forgotten. So we are almost done. This is the last question. And I'm going to ask both of you to give me answers on this one. What advice would you give to new VPMs trying to build or grow their membership base?
Well, so I think for me, it is key to partner with the VPPR. I think VPPR is a very undermined relationship or role, and that relationship between the VPM and the VPPR is key, because once the VPPR does the whole marketing stance, gets people there, sometimes they also continue conversations on the side. So if you're in partnership, you know what's happening on that side. But as a VPM, I think getting as many members as quick as possible, but then working on relationship building is key. So it's one thing to get the members, but if you don't do the relationship building with the members, it becomes difficult. And also to remember that it's not just you as VPM that needs to build the relationships with the members. It's the whole exco. So maybe sharing, because one person might not be able to get to all 20 people, or if we exclude the 7 club officers, to get to all 13 plus, share the responsibility with the rest of the club officers, even if it is one club officer does 2 or 3 people, that they take full accountability to engage and have conversations with regularly. Then you are, as a VPM, going to once in a while have the engagements with every member, but regularly there's always someone who's in touch with one of the members. I think that's something that can work. It's something I've seen work at another club, and I think it is really beneficial.
No, I completely agree with that. And at a district level, we've seen the club growth director work closely with the PR manager. And I've always wondered why at a club level, we don't get to see that relationship. And I'm glad you highlighted it, because if at that level, that relationship is there, it should also translate to a club level. It should still be there. So thank you for highlighting that. And it's the responsibility of the whole exco. I'm glad you said it. It's everybody's responsibility. And then Benovia.
Can I say what she said? Should have got. Oh gosh, I agree 100%. One thing I would say is because I was very unclear about what it is that I need to do. So training gave us all these other things with regards to, you were talking about the moment of truth, and we've had all of those, but then already at that stage, you were already a VPM, and the role was quite unclear for me. So I struggled in the beginning. So I would say, as a new VPM, make sure that you piggyback off your previous VPM, because that's where you get all the nuggets. That's where you grow. Because Kitty has been holding my hand through it all, and it's like, girl, did you do this? Did you do that type of thing? So leverage those that has gone before. You don't need to do it alone. I would also like to echo the sentiment that you are not the only person responsible for club well-being and members. Like I said earlier on, make sure that your people know that you by caring for someone else will bring someone else along, and that's the journey that you walk, because we are obviously, in our instance, we are internal only, so it's only a Nedbank club, and that's what we needed to leverage off. But for everybody else outside, there's so many platforms that you can advertise, and use yourself. You be the person that lives and breathes Toastmasters, and then let that echo into everything else. So I think for VPM, that is, apart from what K2 said, it's some pointers, I think.
Thank you. You've touched on something that I could go on about for the whole day, which is, I think club officer training happens a bit too late in the year. And on this platform, I'm trying to do something else that might get people started on this part a little bit earlier. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if people respond yes to my request. Then there might be an addition to this that contributes to helping club officers be better equipped by the time they get to club officer training. At least they've got a little bit of an understanding of what their role entails, so that they don't struggle throughout the first 2 months. Because literally, most of us go to club officer training 2 months, 3 months into our role. So yeah. with that being said, ladies, thank you very much. I am now going to ask you to have a closing statement in terms of the first time you joined. What would you tell yourself today? That day one person, what would you say to that person right now? Who are we starting with? Let's see. Are we going to go alphabetically? Okay, Pinocchio, you're first.
That day one person that was embarrassed and couldn't get to 3 minutes on a speech. I would tell a girl, you got this. That day one person is like, just imagine yourself practicing and just being better and showing up. Regardless of how embarrassed you felt that first day, it gets better. It definitely gets better, and you get better.
It definitely does. Just show up. Show up. I like that. You, Madam AD?
For me, I think don't be shy of taking leadership roles. It's where I've grown the most, since joining. But yeah, so I'd say don't be shy of taking leadership, because I was really nervous about doing it. And each time, each new role, I've been nervous about getting into it, but I've learned. So I'd say to myself, don't be shy about trying new leadership roles. You'll grow.
The message I'm getting here is that just show up. Don't be shy. Just right. and I like that. Leadership. This is a safe space. Chris says this. Christopher Mvelasi, I'm giving him his flowers. Christopher Mvelasi likes saying Toastmasters is a space where you get to break things or have real life experience of certain things without real life consequences. So I'm gonna give him his flowers. And I've always said this to new people. It's a safe space. So thank you for highlighting that. All in all, thank you for taking time to speak to me. And I enjoyed this. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna bring you guys back for something else. Don't know why.
We'll create something.
We'll wait. Wait to see.
Exactly.
Thank you. This was
Thank
really
you for the invite.
Thank you.
And thank you for your input as well. We'll definitely have some more member surveys.